Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Ibrahim Mugharbal. I'm the managing director for Great Place to Work in UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, and Oman. Today, we have a very special webinar because we're talking about a very specific topic that is actually of an interest for everybody I talk to. And also, we have one of the amazing speakers and one of the amazing company, a great place to work, definitely our CEO and founder of Visiontech Systems International, Ali Asgar Tuhad Walad. How are you guys today? And how are you today, Ali?
Good afternoon, Ibrahim. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. We are fantastic. It's we're still waiting for more monsoon to see. One rain is not enough in Dubai.
So you as a business, you're growing and growing. We just spoke about it. I mean, behind in the background, we just spoke about how much the business is growing, specifically after COVID. And as you can see, and as we can see from the coming years as well, things will not stop, right? There's more growth. There's more
True.
hiring people, keeping people, and that's our topic today. It's all about retaining people and how can we keep our people as well. So can you just tell us like for 2 minutes about Vision Tech, just in 2 minutes, and how what's happening with you as a business?
Sure, sure. My name is Ali Asgar. As mentioned, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Visiontech Systems.
Mhm.
So we are a 20-year-old institute based out of UAE, Dubai, and we've been into system integration for a very long time with a size of 110 in UAE and 140 with two offices across India. Plus, the team is predominantly technical. So we have 85% of the team which is technical, and the business model is all about people and people dominance. Plus, the customers that we work with are itself so elite and large that having these people in time, in the right place is very important all the time for us.
Beautiful. So when you speak about people and retaining people, how important this is for an organization? Why is it important to retain people?
Ibrahim, talent is something that is, it can be a skill, it can be a quality, right? So, especially when I'm talking about an industry which is dominant on services, dominant on knowledge and skill, for us, at least from the IT perspective that I see, and so many other domains like aviation or healthcare, I see it's all about people. It's all about giving them the right resources and then making them the right resource for the institute or the organization. So yes, retention is the key. It's very important, especially in a country where you are living amongst so many people from various countries and various cultures. Okay, it becomes a little bit more challenging because if you're sitting out of India, if you're sitting out of Egypt, if you're sitting out of Lebanon, it's your people. But here, everybody is your people. So if you're talking to an Indian, you're talking to a South African, you're talking to a Filipino, I mean, these are all your people. So yes, retention plays a very, very vital role for any organization, and management has to be at the core of it.
100%. So, I mean, you are a great place to work, and huge congratulations on this international milestone. We're very proud of you. And my question to you, how important the culture is for your organization, and how much impact does it have?
Um, so we have multicultural people working with us, right? Multiple countries, at least. I think we have people from around 6 to 7 countries working under Vision Tech's umbrella. Plus, we have the basis of India, okay, but then we have recruited across different cultures, and we not only share work with them at a single tune, but we also celebrate the
Mhm.
work across all the different cultures. So I'm not talking about just balancing the act of knowledge or skill. I'm also balancing the act of who are they interacting with, how are they going to interact with themselves within the organization, plus what can they bring and what they can offer to the clientele that we work with. So having a diverse culture in the office, having a diverse variety of languages and people and different skills is becoming more and more key, and it also generates a lot of interest among different people, who would want to know a little bit about each other and about each other's cultures and natures and behavior, and try to create more value in terms of what they have already offered to the outsiders. Yes.
Beautiful. So when you speak about, so what I'm hearing from you, you're actually creating ambassadors. You want every employee to become an ambassador of your organization. How do you look at that when you're hiring somebody? So how can you make sure that this is the right fit? This is the right fit for my
Uh,
organization. This is the ambassador I want to have in my organization who's going to present my organization for all my stakeholders.
Good question, Ibrahim. We already as a company we have an open hierarchy culture. When we started expanding, so by 2009, Vision Tech was 20 people, and today we are 140 people. And in COVID in 2020, we actually did not reduce our force size. Okay, we retained all of them. Okay, and obviously we understand that we are not recruiting just an individual, but we are recruiting their family also. So we want them to be a part of the family. We want them to be a part of our solutions and our problems. So when we talk about recruiting a person on any level, it could be a senior level, junior level, but then when they are put together through the induction process, it's a very simple induction process done by the line manager itself. We don't have a full-fledged HR in the organization, but then we either take it up with the line manager, or maybe the managers are sitting together and taking them not only through what the company is all about, but the culture of the company also. Most of the time, we keep absolute transparency in terms of giving them the information that they should know firsthand. Okay, and it's open workspace setting, right? So we don't have cabins. Cabins are only for maybe the two managers that the organization entirely has for whatever business, but the doors are always open.
Mhm.
So that culture is imbibed. It's like from the office boy, from the driver to the last engineer in the organization can just walk up to anybody, okay, and ask whatever they want or share whatever they want, or they can be a part of a discussion, or they can be a part of a celebration. So yes, this is how we imbibe the culture from the moment the guy or the person is onboarded.
I'm looking at your data and you have achieved 91% when it comes to leadership behavior. So actually, I mean, that's actually, here you go, a best practice when you look at how your organization is thinking about their people and their employees and how you're driving performance and trust. Amazing. So you said something which is very impressive. I mean, you are an SME, right? Small to medium organization, and this is actually 80% or 70% of the businesses in the UAE, isn't it?
True,
So
true.
not all of us and not all organization has that. They cannot afford an HR. They cannot afford a full team of HR who can take things to the next level. So as a CEO, how do you make sure you're always listening to your people? How do you make sure you're actively listening to your people as part of the process?
So we do a lot of internal meetings, okay, which is because we've got, what we have done is we have created practice leads in the organization. So we have expanded by the practice and the skills, right? So we have these leaders, okay, who have teams under them. Then there are managers in the sales business development who have teams under them. Plus they can interconnect and they do their own discussions, meeting with the customers, trainings. They have their own issues. They try to solve it within themselves. Then the hierarchy level or escalation levels are minimal. So basically, if we've given freedom to our people that if you can take a decision to resolve this, do it.
Mhm.
If you think that this is
Ownership.
in the interest of the organization, take the ownership and just do it. You don't
Mhm.
have to wait for my instructions or my partner Murtaza's instruction. You don't have to do that. So this is even a driver. The car's met with an accident. Okay, there's a damage that has happened. Okay, I have to shell out $200. He can just do it. He has that freedom. We've told him, if you think this is right, just do it, because that gives them a certain privilege. It's a feeling, the power that, okay, the organization believes in me. The organization is giving us an understanding that, okay, we actually understand the problem and we are the right people. I mean, they don't have to escalate we manage the culture within the organization, right? And that makes it easy for everybody to work together, to not wait for one person to be taking all the decisions for them.
100%. So what I'm hearing from you is you're building not just ambassadors, but you're building soldiers and most importantly, leaders. So you're making sure that everybody take that ownership to the next level. That's beautiful to hear. So going back to our topic today, retention of employees. And I know this is becoming a challenge, not just for you as an organization. This is actually becoming a challenge for every organization, not just in the UAE, but around the globe as well. So when we think about Vision Tech, so what do you guys do? How did you ensure that your retention is high? How can you make sure that you decrease your turnover?
Ibrahim, I fortunately, our turnover is very low. So I wouldn't say that our experience on retention is bad, but yes, we do have to go through certain. People want to grow. I mean, like you mentioned that we are one of the SMEs. Plus, we're a system integrator. Vision Tech is fortunately one of those brands where people are lucky that once they have spent a certain level of experience in in this company, they do get offers. They do get pulled by competitors, by bigger vendors, who are direct OEMs and so on. So yes, it is a challenge for us. We do work on retention where we have to sit down and discuss the reason of why did the employee first of all select to move, or what is limiting him or her from growing in this company. Because when I say that we are giving an open environment, we are also giving our employees an avenue to grow in a different direction. So it's not about a badge or a title. It's about the KPIs, the KRS, the responsibilities, the reach. So we allow our team, in our case, to reach to the top ladder, okay,
Mhm,
which is usually managed or limited only to the owners or to the management.
mhm,
In
mhm.
our company, we don't do that. We allow them to speak to OEMs, to allow them to speak to end customers directly, build confidence, learn from them, give the customers the confidence about the organization itself. So yes, there are a lot of things that actually value this, and then the retention point happens.
If I ask you if you can give me one example that has a
Mhm.
major, I mean, you said something which everybody wants to have. Everybody wants to have a low turnover. That's the plan and the
Yes.
objective of everybody that exists out there, right? So, what? Give me one example that has had a major impact on actually taking your turnover to the, I mean, in terms of like the minimum possible. That's if you can tell me about that. A major
The
example.
most,
Hmm.
the easiest, the simplest rule that you should have in your organization is open conversations.
Mhm.
If you're open to a conversation to all your team members at any given point of time, that's it. That is the biggest problem of major organizations. People do not have access to their managers comfortably. If
Mhm.
today a guy wants to come and tell that, okay, look, I need a raise, they have to go through a nightmare. They have to sleep over it for 4 nights, talk to their wives, talk to their girlfriends, maybe go and sit in a bar, think about it. Can I even raise this kind of a question? It's a very simple question, right? Of course, there are limitations to what you can get after that, okay,
Mhm.
but at least that ease should be there. So, and this is a simple thing I'm talking about. There are major issues other than this also.
Mhm.
I mean, people are lying about going into meetings. Probably they go end up doing interviews, and there's so many things happening. It's just because they do not trust their managers, or their managers are not easy for them to just open up. If you allow this, if you keep a channel,
Mhm.
okay, fine, you can't have it completely open. I understand some of the organizations are very large to allow this, but maybe once in a month, maybe once in a quarter, over an event, over a lunch, somewhere. I mean, there has to be an open door, closed door policy. This is very important. This open door, closed door policy is not only followed by a smaller company like us, but even Google has it.
Mhm.
Even IBM has it. I mean, some of the big brands they have it. So I mean, if you talk about Google, I mean, somebody with an appointment can actually walk up to Sundar Pichai for a 5 minutes, quick discussion, because that's how the company is growing. That's how they know that what their talent can be moved on to. How do you figure out of hundreds and thousands of employees that who are the
100%.
top 10 that you want to start a new vertical? I mean, he himself was one of those. He was a product development himself, and if his board wouldn't have heard him, he wouldn't have been the CEO today. So this is what we look into. We look into every employee, that when can he be moved to the next manager? When can he be moved to the next business unit, head of department. I mean, this is how it happens. So it's simple conversation. You need to walk up to a guy and tell him good morning, yeah, and yeah, have a light, sweet conversation.
100%. And I'll tell you what, I know you said something when you said about maybe because I'm a smaller a smaller organization, we're open to have a conversation. Actually, we speak to and we work with a lot of organizations where they have, as an example, Shalhoub, a Landmark, I mean, the HL, all these best workplaces who have more than 7,000 employees in one country and 10,000 and 15,000. So the main objective, I think, when you have that approach of open communication, it doesn't matter the size. It's more about having that initiative implemented as part of the culture to build the trust, which is a
Sure,
key word as
sure.
well. I mean, we as a great place to work, we always like to recognize heroes. And this is why next month we're celebrating the best workplaces for parents and the best workplaces in the public sector as well in the GCC. So when we speak about parents, the reason why this list was created is because we heard from organization, because when COVID was there, parents had the opportunity to be more flexible in terms of working from home, being next to their kids, being there with their families. When COVID stopped and then people were back to the office, that became a challenge again. People were used to work from office,
True.
from home, and now they became a challenge. So speaking about the work-life balance, if you can just tell us a bit more, how do you ensure that this is happening in your organization?
Fortunately, I mean, we've had people on the field even during COVID, because we are more of a services company, and we had special permissions and privileges from the government itself to. So we are a team of 110 people approximately, where 60 to 70 people were on the field all the time. So we have locations, we have offices, we have people who are working with multi-level cultures and different kind of customers. So they all depend on who the customer is likewise. So when you say work from home, it is not something that uh, we cannot adopt, or we don't have that. We do, even I do sometimes, but it depends, and they have the freedom to choose if this is the way they can do business, or this is the way they can actually create a more better working environment for their audience, who is actually looking forward to talking to them or discussing with them or meeting with them. um, Again, if I put it this way, that there are organizations who have these kind of cultures, okay, where they don't have to come to a physical location, and then there are organizations where you have to be there physically, for the simple reason that this is how you can address an audience, right? So you talk about healthcare, you can't do everything online, right? You need to still go and see a doctor. At least today you can, unless artificial intelligence takes over. But so
Never
yeah,
know.
I mean, yeah, you never know. Yeah, it's coming too soon, honestly. But yeah, you never know. So yeah, it's same. And plus, we have so many activities in house. We celebrate almost every festival. We celebrate almost every event. We've got so many birthday parties happening. We've got this Christmas happening, Diwali happening, Eid happening. So yeah,
So you
it
celebrate
keeps us connected.
every occasion that's happening, isn't it? Beautiful.
We don't miss. We try not to miss a good celebration.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're receiving a lot of inputs and comments as well. I mean,
Sure.
we got a comment that says, don't overload an employee reward for their hard working and dedication at work using performer appraisals." Great comments. Don't follow macro instead of micromanagement methodology. These are beautiful comments coming from John. Thank you, John, for your inputs. We actually received a question as well. How can feedback culture or open door policy be beneficial for the employee retention? You spoke about it heavily in today's session. So how do you feel that this is going to actually impact your organization as part of the process?
People, how do you communicate with them? So it's basically the open or closed door is very important, because if you don't understand, or if you don't speak to the person at the right time, and do not at least sometimes they just need a moral boosting. It's not about solving the problem, it's about hearing. You need to hear people. So sometimes you have to give them some space in private, in your cabin or in a meeting room, and just hear them out. The issues are with their personal life. The issues are, with financial issues. It's nothing to do with work. So if you just hear them out, and maybe you don't even have to do anything about it, but a little bit of morale boosting, a little bit of support can take that employee a long way. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I'm receiving a lot of testimonials from your employees who actually came in and says, I mean, I'm gonna read one of the commands. All words are 100% in action in Vision Tech. And this is why, again, I'm gonna repeat and say, you guys had received a 91% on leadership behavior. So I can see that in action. And this is what a great place to work is all about. Beautiful command and beautiful inputs. We have more questions coming in. What is the most efficient way of communicating with employees in the company? You did mention internal
Uh,
meeting, you did mention a physical
Yes,
interaction.
so we have these group sessions that we do. So you can't when you're talking about efficient way, there's not, it doesn't have to be efficient, but it has to be communicated. So even if so you're not going to go only and throw roses, right? There are also going to be some thorns. There are also going to be some fire. Okay,
Mhm.
but you need to let it out. You need to voice it out, and you need to. It has to be a both way thing, right? So some people
True.
typically, we have this firefighting sessions where the technical team is not happy with the sales team, and the sales team is saying it's because of the technical team. But that session is important. You have to make that session happen. Otherwise, it becomes into a political scenario. The customer starts suffering, and then your financial books will start shaking. So
100%.
yeah, so it's about, yes, you can have it disciplined. You can have it once in fortnight, maybe over Friday afternoon, or I mean we do it on Saturdays. Saturdays is our usually our meeting rooms are war rooms, okay, where people are sitting and trying to figure out issues. We also have trainings, we also have certifications, we also have celebrations. Everything is happening most of the
Beautiful.
Saturdays, because 5 days we are attending customers. So for us, because we are a service company, becomes a little difficult on working days. But it depends. It depends. If your organization is a 5 day working, you should figure out one of those half days, maybe a first half Monday morning or a second half Friday afternoon. Yeah, but you should do it. You should do it. Yeah.
If you ask me, so because we speak to, I mean, I speak personally to around 8 to 7 organizations per day. And I'm going to tell you this, one of the key challenges we see in terms of inputs and outputs coming from employees are favoritism and politics. So what you just right there actually is an overcome of politics. How can we make sure that politics and backstabbing is not occurring in a company, which is a challenge? My team versus their team, they are not your enemy. They're actually your coworkers. How can you look at your revenues and business objectives to be achieved? Beautiful. I'm just going to read out a command. It's very important to retain talented employees. In my opinion, employers need to reform their management initiatives, identify strategies, and tailor retention plans. There are a lot of things organization leaders can do to reduce turnover. Thank you, Lina
That's right.
Al Hamati, for this beautiful input and insight. Actually, we agree 100%. I mean, we don't exist. We're not in the 1980s anymore. You cannot just sit down in your room and close your door. You need to open your
True.
door. You need to be working with your employees. And I was just
True.
saying this to Ali. Employees are not interested in finance anymore. It's not just about their salary. They're interested in a partner. They want to have a strategic partner. They want to have a strategic employer who cares about them. This is what they have
True.
learned from COVID. Salaries can change. I mean, I can switch a job for another 2, 3, 4,000 dirhams, but people are looking for happiness. So that 4,000 dirhams is equal to zero in their mind. So this is why this topic today is so important. Um, we received another input as well from Huzaifa. Remember, it's always about dual side understanding. Not only employer, even employees has to get this in terms of accepting an open office environment and accept that towards growth of both. That's actually a very true command. It's a two-way conversation. So yes, employers should be interested, but also employees should be interested. And I always give the example of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, if you like a restaurant, right? But if there's
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't like about that restaurant, would you give a feedback about that to the chef? As an example, you like steak in a steakhouse restaurant. If you don't like the steak, you have to give the feedback. That chef will never know unless that customer
Exactly.
knows. So the same goes for employees. But this is where the chef, the company, has to take actions. So if the steak is
That's
not
right.
well cooked, what are you gonna do, chef?
No, this is the exact thing we follow in the organization. I mean, if there are certain practices which are not going in the favor. So you say, for example, we have these new joinees who are not able to clock a deal for I mean, depending on the time, but sometimes we rush in. So they feel that you're not giving us enough time. It's not about time, it's about strategy. So if you don't know this now, okay, 3 months down the line we'll be having this conversation, which will be late, right?
100%.
At that point of time, the discussion will be in a very different direction. It will be in a direction where you'll be on a notice period, or you'll be on a discussion term where you're worried about your job, you're not able to focus. But if you do this in the first 2 weeks, and in the next 2 weeks, at least you know that what your management is expecting, what your team leader is expecting from you, and where you can improve. What you need, something you have to ask for it. Okay, I need training on this subject. I need training on people skills. So I need a senior to buddy me for my first couple of meetings. So these things are very important. I mean, you need to understand that we are not programmed, right? We are programmed, okay, to to what the job offer tells us. But beyond that is something which is completely driven. It's driven by motivation. It's driven by the people that you meet. So what kind of people are influencing you? It's driven by the organization's culture. If you sit between four people who are achieving targets, who are winning numbers, okay, you're definitely going to be the fifth person for sure. If you're sitting between people, okay, who are lame and who have excuses and who are going too often for their coffee gossips, sorry,
100%.
I know what's coming next.
100%. No, I 100% agree with you, Ali. I'm going to leave the people today with one note. People don't like to change. They will change if they have to. So don't help them with that. Instead of helping them to change, help them to stay. And going back to what you said, Ali, about giving that opportunity to have a two-way conversation. Speak up,
True.
give your inputs, give your feedback, and trust your employer. But employers, please listen to your people as well. Thank you so much, Ali, today for this conversation. I found it very useful and insightful. I hope everybody who was on the session today enjoyed it as well. We're looking forward for more and more webinars and more celebrations. So we're actually looking at celebrating the best workplaces in the UAE, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, and Saudi, as well as Bahrain in the early of 2023, in December and sorry, in February and March 2023. So we're very excited about that. We want to recognize all these amazing heroes, similar to Visiontech, who are very keen to have a great performance, a high trust, and an amazing culture. Thank you so much, Ali, for joining us today. We really enjoyed the conversation. Uh, and thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. Thank you, all the audience, for hearing us out and for the lovely questions. Thank you so much. And Great Place to Work is doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.